Good day, viewers. Welcome and thank you for joining us. We are watching Open Studio right here on Cape Town TV. My name is Danny Kamboa, and I've got an amazing gentleman with me today. He goes by the name of Alex. All right, he's got a company called Ride for Rhinos, where they go into South African wildlife and really help with a lot of social issues that we are faced with today, which is poaching and also just rhinos going to extinction. So we're going to speak to Alex today as to how his company is being effective in helping the change the social problem within our country. So Alex, welcome to the show. It's good to have you. I like the excitement in your face, and I can see that you are happy to be here.
Always excited to tell people about what we do and encourage them to get involved.
Oh yes. So Alex, for those that's watching at home for the first time that do not know you, can you give us a little bit of background about yourself, where you're from and what inspired you to start this business?
Okay, well, I guess from the accent, I'm actually from the UK. I fell in love with South Africa back in 1998, and since then I think I've had 73 visits. It would have been more, but unfortunately Corona stepped in and put an end to that for a while. But I came over to South Africa for the first time in 1998, and just for a week, and I fell in love with Cape Town. Who wouldn't? And I just kept coming back, and I kept coming back, and I got a motorcycle, and I went exploring, and I got involved with. I went and did my first ever safari up in the Lowveld in 2000, and again just got more and more enthusiastic about the wildlife, and it just kind of progressed from there, really.
Yeah. Wow. And when you speak about the wildlife, we've got the five wonders of the world. Was the rhinos the only things that interested you, or was there any other animals that made you want to come back down here?
So it turned into literally everything. I guess early on I was guilty, as many tourists are, of looking at the big five. But then you see, when you start studying, and I was lucky enough to go and do some studying with some guys up in the Lowveld near a place near Hoedspruit, and I did a game ranger course up there. And whilst I was there, I saw this tiny little hole in the ground, and it was an antlion trap. And for those of you who don't know, it's a tiny little bug that makes a hole in the ground, or a little pit in the ground, and that's how it catches its prey. And hearing this being explained by one of the guys just amazed me. So I was going, what's that called? What's that called? What's that called? And it just grew from there, because you soon realize that everything that's out there is part of a little chain. It's there for a reason. And the stories and the things that animals do are
So when you came down to South Africa and you say you had one motorcycle, so once you've had this idea to go ahead with this business, how has that stepping stone been like for you? What was the step-by-step guide that you took to really getting this thing off?
I guess initially it all kind of happens progressively. I love riding motorcycles in South Africa, but I'm not going to lie to you, it's not a cheap thing to do. It can get expensive. And so I started bringing a few friends with me, and friends of friends. And eventually I ended up starting a motorcycle tour business, because it was the natural progression for me to get paid for doing what I love doing. I haven't worked since. This is not a job. It's great fun. And to see one of the big rewards is to see the look on the faces of the people that I bring down as well, because lots of my clients come back time and time again. So I started the tour business, and then I quickly realized that I'd also, going back a little bit, I'd started training as a game ranger, never with any aspirations to be one, but it was a great way to learn more and feed my own habit about wildlife. And whilst I was in this reserve near Hoedspruit, a place called Moholoholo, the manager up there, one of the training instructors, said, come, let's take the motorbikes and let's go and take a ride around the reserve. It just opened up a whole new world again. Game viewing from motorcycles. What a great thing to do. It's such a different experience to sitting in a vehicle. So I did that, and then I built a motorcycle safari tour a 10-day trip going around the Lowveld and down into Kruger, around some of the Free State, and it sells like wildfire. It really, really does.
Wow.
It shows that there's a lot more people than just myself out there that love motorbikes and wildlife.
Oh yes, no, definitely. And I mean, it sounds like your business is doing very well. And there must have been some setbacks with the pandemic. But before we get there, how long has this been going?
As a motorcycle tour business, I've been going for 12 years now. This would have been my 12th year. As far as Ride for Rhinos goes, that's something that kind of grew from the tour business to be a conduit to raise funds for wildlife projects.
Oh, wow. So going from one bike, within the tour, but within the tour business, and 12 years in the business, how big are we looking at this now? How big is the business?
Well, the business is still as I like it. Actually, it's still just me running the business, and I don't own any bikes in South Africa. I rent them from the rental companies that are down there. So there's always investment going back into the areas where we're touring around.
Okay. Wow.
But I would say, and I think I could quite easily put my hand on my heart and say, in the UK, I'm certainly number one for South Africa.
You are number one for South Africa.
It is quite a niche market, I should point out.
Oh, wow, but I must say, like, I really like the initiative that you have taken, because it's something different. You don't get this much here. So, we're talking about the business as it's going. What is the mission of your business?
I guess we're talking about Ride for Rhino's mission now, which
Yes.
Ride for Rhino started from just a concept idea that I'd had. As I say, there's the commercial business of Kapstadt motorcycle tours, and then there's Ride for Rhinos, which initially was just the name I gave to a project that I was doing myself.
Yeah.
In 2013, I'd been working with the guys on the anti-poaching units up in the Lowveld, been alongside them. And
Right, Alex? So we're just going to take a short break because I really like where you're going with this one, and I want to give you enough time to talk about it. So we'll be back after this. For those that's watching at home, guys, do not go anywhere. We'll be back after this. Welcome back, guys. You're watching Open Studio right here on Cape Town TV. With me is Mr. Alex, who's got an amazing company called Ride for Rhinos. Okay, they are within the safaris in South Africa, and the main purpose is to give you a pleasurable experience when you do enter the safari right in South Africa. So once again, Mr. Alex, welcome to the show.
thank you.
There you are. Welcome. So just to continue with our conversation, we spoke a lot about you, where you grew up, which is the UK, and how effective your business has been here in South Africa within the safari. So just to continue with that, Ride for Rhinos, what is the concept? What is the vision and mission for this initiative?
Ride for Rhinos itself started out purely as a name I gave to a project that I was doing myself.
Yeah.
I was going out on a ride. I'd been working with the anti-poaching guys for some time, and it kind of started to hit home to me personally that I'm seeing all this stuff happen, all this terrible stuff regarding the poaching and the killing of rhinos and other wildlife. I'm seeing all that happening around me, but the circles I'm mixing in, maybe in the motorcycle world, they don't necessarily know about this. So I kind of took it upon myself to go and sort out a project, go and put together a project. And as I was on this project, to blog, to ride around, I did a 10,000 kilometer motorcycle ride from Cape Town through Namibia up to Vic Falls, down through Zimbabwe, back into South Africa, Eswatini, and then down the Garden Route and back to Cape Town. I did all that solo, and I was going to various projects, wildlife projects, rehabilitation centres and protection areas, and I was blogging about it as I went. And now, initially, that was called AJ's Ride for Rhinos. It was mine, and that was in 2013. By 2017, the amount of deaths that were occurring in the rhinos was outstanding. It was something like 1,200 a year. And so purely telling people about it, I mean, a lot of people knew about it by then because it was a very publicized fact. Just telling people about it wasn't going to be enough. So I think I need to do something else that's going to raise some funds and put the funds where it really matters to help protect these guys on the ground. It's great having these programs that are educational programs to try and teach the poachers not to do it, or trying to teach the end users that really it doesn't increase your potency. It is just keratin, fingernails, hair. It's not got any medical purposes. That's a long-term project to try and educate people out of that way of thinking. But tonight we need to do something about the people going out trying to kill the rhinos. And so that was my aim, to go out, raise some funds. And so I took a group of bikers around, starting in Joburg, and we circumnavigated South Africa. We raised something like 264,000 Rand, which was donated into the anti-poaching units.
Wow.
At the same time, we became the very first motorcycle tour group to ever enter Kruger National Park, to ever ride into the park. Now that's ride into, not right through. That would be a completely different sort of adventure, I think. A short-lived one, I would say. And so we did a very successful program there. That was just simply called Ride for Rhinos. Again, it was just the name of a project. I did it under my company. And after which, 2 years later, I did another one where we circumnavigated it again. This time we managed to get BMW motorcycles on board. They donated the bikes to the ride. And the money that was saved by not hiring the bikes in, we were able to put towards another project in Kruger National Park, which was about, I think it was turned out to 101,000 Rand, where we were able to improve the radio communication system in a certain area of the park that had a very bad dead spot, where the rangers couldn't communicate if they were in this zone. As a result of putting the boosters on the masts, they've now got 100% total coverage, and that's paying dividends. And I just heard back this week from one of the guys there, and they're still very, very excited about the fact that now their response times.
Yeah. Well, let's speak about that, the response time, because I know technology has played a huge role in making that possible. When we spoke earlier, also you made mention of that. Just if we can continue with that conversation, how has technology, has made it effective that the people that are working there to be able to respond quickly to situations?
Okay. Coincidentally, many years ago I worked for a company, a South African company, and I was their head of security, and I was one of the first people to get intelligent security systems in the buildings that I was responsible for. That back then was cutting edge technology. These were cameras that could pick up motion, and you could, from your laptop at home in the garden, you could dial into the cameras, which is, you can do this with your telephones with home systems these days, but this was maybe 15 years ago. Those systems have come on now, and they're actually installing them. And this company that I was working for actually led the market in taking this technology into a game reserve, flooding the game reserve with Wi-Fi of some description. I'm not going to try and tell you how it works, because I'm not there. But effectively, they've got power sources there. They can have Wi-Fi coverage throughout the game reserve. They've got cameras, monitoring systems, intelligent fences even that can tell if there's metal getting near the fence. So if a guy's walking past with a panga, it picks up this. Now, the response time on that particular reserve has gone from 30 minutes for the anti-poaching team to get out to what could be an incident. It's gone from 30 minutes down to 7.
Oh, wow.
Okay? Because now they can verify the incident before they turn out. They don't have to go out to an injured animal. Oh, well, they would go out to an injured animal, of course, But they, if they're going to go looking for poachers, they can get out and they can deal with it. And it's been very,
Yeah,
very effective.
to
And
me
it's
that
actually,
has made it effective. Yeah.
and it's taken down their. I don't think for the last 5 years that system's been in place, it's taken down their loss of rhinos down to zero. They
Oh
haven't
wow.
had a single animal poached in all that time.
Wow. I mean, that is a great improvement, going from 30 minutes to 7 minutes, just like that, and all thanks to technology and the effort people like you are putting, in making this possible. That these anti-poaching force can come out there in such an effective time to really sort this out. So, Mr. Alex, we're gonna take another short break. We'll be back after this. We're gonna be quick. For those that's watching at home, I urge you to not go anywhere. We'll be back after this. All right, guys, welcome back. You're watching Open Studio right here on Cape Town TV. I'm Danny Cambo. I've got Mr. Alex with me in the studio, who is the owner or the founder of an amazing company called Ride of Rhinos. All we're talking about today is pouching rhinos and also how the wildlife is being assisted, through the help of Mr. Alex and his team to really tackle the social issue that we have going on within our country and our wildlife. So, Mr. Alex, once again, thank you for coming and having a chat with us here in studio. I'm sure those that's watching today are really appreciating and are engaging with us as we're having this conversation. So, throughout the show, we spoke about you. We spoke about your business. We spoke about your effort in trying to help sort out this issue of rhino poaching, which has been a major, major issue within our safaris. And now that it's been so effective, and all we can say is thank you. So, thinking for the future, how do we go from here? What else is there for Ride for Rhinos?
Uh, Ride for Rhinos has taken a turn in the last 6 months, certainly. As I said before, it was basically a name before that I used to use as just as a point of reference to raise funds to the projects that I was looking at. Since then, I made a promise back in November last year, whilst I was giving a talk in Cape Town, that this next event I did would raise R1 million.
Oh, wow.
Now, I must admit, I didn't have a crystal ball, and I didn't know Corona was going to be involved in this year. Uh, so that has calmed things down a little bit. But my plan, we've now actually, we're in the middle of the process of registering Ride for Rhinos as a charitable organisation.
Yeah.
The plan is to redo the trip I spoke about before, the 10,000 kilometers circumnavigating southern Africa, through Namibia, Zimbabwe, going across the top of Botswana, and all around South Africa again. So in April and May, starting on the 25th of April, leaving Cape Town out of the waterfront, we will be heading out on that 10,000 kilometer journey. There's myself, there's a team of 8 riders, 2 support crew and a cameraman that's going to be on that trip. So it's quite a big group this time, not just myself that's going to be involved. And I say that we're going to be visiting the projects that we've chosen for this. One of them being and again, Ride for Rhinos can sometimes be a little bit misleading. It's not just about rhinos, it's about all types of wildlife, community projects, and environmental projects as well. So actually the first thing we're going to be doing is visiting a project that we're supporting in Namibia, where if we hit the million, we will raise enough to plant something like 3,000 indigenous quiver trees in southern Namibia. And if anybody's been to Namibia, they know that Namibia is in desperate need of trees because there just aren't any. Excuse me. From there, we'll be going to head up to Victoria Falls, where another one of the projects is Victoria Falls Anti-Poaching Unit. We'll be supporting them with equipment from the proceeds. Moving down through Zimbabwe, again, another project where we'll be staying at one of the lodges. It's a project they run. It's called the Mother Africa Trust. We'll be donating to them. They do a lot of things with the local communities, water projects, snare clearing projects. And then back into South Africa. And once again, Sam Parks is very much close to my heart. Um, I've done a fair bit of work with them over the years. And this time we'll be donating towards building new accommodation for the rangers that are actually the guys that are out in the field. It's a bad place to be out in that field. So when you come home and to rest, you need somewhere that's fit for purpose. And unfortunately, where they're staying right now, it isn't. It's you wouldn't keep chickens in there, you know. So we're really putting a lot of effort, and Sam Parks have put a lot of effort in building brand new accommodation for their rangers, where they can have their families to stay with them, so they don't have to spend months away from home and away from their families, and they've got good living conditions in there. So that's going to be happening in April and May, 33 days on the road, so say covering 10,000 kilometers all the way around Southern Africa.
Wow, that's an entire month of just out on the road. Wow, and I mean that initiative is amazing. You know, trying to help the rangers, you know, with accommodation and a decent condition of living. Because being in the field, you're risking your life, you know, and they are risking their life for our entertainment. You know, so it's only fair that they receive that kind of treatment in return. Wow. So for those that's wanting to get, you know, a hold of you, that's wanting to chip in, show their support, or even, you know, sponsor you guys, how can they do that?
The simplest way I would say, and thank goodness for social media, is simply to go to somewhere like Facebook and look for Ride for Rhinos, or it's actually called Friends of Ride for Rhinos. And then everything else that you would need, there's a link to the Just Giving page on there. So if you want to donate something, please feel free. If you want to buy a t-shirt, worn specially for the occasion, please feel free to get in touch through the Facebook page. There's a message thing on there, and you can send us as many messages as you like, showing support or just saying hi. You know, we just want people to get involved. Just go over and like the page. The more people we have on board, the quicker we can sort this problem out. Certainly, we can sort our side of the problem out.
Wow. So I mean, with the current project that's coming up, the 33 days, is it, if somebody wants to be part of that, are they welcome to, or is it only for a specific group?
Okay, so as far as participants in the ride goes now, for the whole trip, that is actually sold out. Most of the guys on there are my previous customers from the commercial business, so that side's sold out. But people are more than welcome to come down to the waterfront. We're going to be down at the Radisson Red. We're going to be leaving from outside the Radisson Red. More than welcome to come down on the day, show some support. If you've got a motorcycle, come and join us, ride up the West Coast with us. You know, you're going to have to look after yourselves because we've got a few other bits to do. But, you know, you're more than welcome to join in. We will soon have T-shirts available in South Africa. We've got a supplier going to start up supplying down there now.
Okay, wow. So what's the message? What's the number of the group that we're looking at that will be going on this project?
Okay, so as I say, there are 8 riders. There's myself riding, so there's 9 riders, 2 support vehicle crew, a husband and wife. The lady is actually an ex-British rally car champion. So I'm looking to see some of her skills when we get to Namibia, just to see how good she is. And then we've got a cameraman that we're bringing on board to make a DVD or a short film.
All right. Oh, wow. Thanks a lot, Alex. Thanks a lot, Alex. It's been a pleasure having you on studio with us, chatting to us about your initiative and the plans that you have going forward. We have unfortunately come to the end of the show, but you know, it does not end there. We can always reach out to your website and also your social media platforms, you know, to get more information. And for those that's watching at home, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being part of this conversation. And thank you once again to Mr. Alex. So yeah, from myself and the Cape Town TV crew, goodbye for now. Till next time. Bye-bye.